Once upon a time, in a small, cozy village nestled among rolling green hills, lived a milkman named Gopal. Every morning, before the sun even thought about peeking over the horizon, Gopal would be up Andy about, his cows mooing softly in the barn. He was known throughout the village for having the creamiest, most delicious milk. People would say, Gopal's milk is like a taste of heaven. Andy for a while, Gopal was a happy, honest man, proud of his work and the joy he brought to his customers. But as his fame grew, a tiny, dark seed of greed began to sprout in Gopal's heart. He saw his neighbors buying new carts, repairing their roofs, and sending their children to better schools. He started thinking, my milk is the best in the village. Why am I not the richest man here? He worked so hard, day in and day out. The more he thought about it, the more the seed of greed grew, twisting its roots around his once kind heart. One morning, as he was filling his large milk cans to take to the village, a wicked idea popped into his head. He looked at the full can of pure, white milk, and then he looked at the village well, glistening in the early morning light. What if, he whispered to himself, what if he just added a little water? Who would even notice? A little water won't harm anyone, and my pockets will be a little heavier. So, that day, he took a bucket of water from the well and he poured it into his milk can. He swirled it around, and the milk still looked perfectly white and creamy. With a nervous but excited heart, he went on his rounds. He sold all his milk, just like every other day, but this time, he had a little extra milk left over, which he sold to a new customer. The extra coins in his pocket felt heavy and wonderful. It worked, he thought with a grin. They didn't notice a thing. From that day on, adding water to the milk became Gopal's little secret. At first, it was just one bucket of water, but greed is a hungry monster. Soon, one bucket became two, and two became three. His profit soared. He bought new clothes, a sturdier cart, and he even started saving up for a bigger house. He felt clever, thinking he had outsmarted everyone in the village. However, things were changing. The villagers started to notice. Has Gopal's milk changed? One woman asked her neighbor. It seems thinner, less creamy than it used to be. Another grumbled, the cream doesn't rise to the top like it once did. It's almost watery. The children, who used to gulp down their glasses of milk, now pushed them away, wrinkling their noses. The whisper started to spread through the village like a morning fog. Gopal's reputation, once as pure as his milk, was beginning to get sour. When people complained, Gopal would just laugh and say, nonsense, my cows are giving the same wonderful milk as always. Perhaps your taste has changed. But he knew the truth. Deep down, a small voice of guilt would whisper to him, but the clinking of his extra coins would always shout louder. He ignored the worried looks of his customers and he continued his deceitful practice, growing richer and richer with each passing day. One particularly hot summer day, Gopal collected a large sum of money from his sales. He had sold a lot of his watered-down milk and his bag of coins was heavier than ever. He felt on top of the world. As he was heading home, walking along the path that led past a dense forest, he decided to take a rest under a large, shady banyan tree by the riverbank. The sun was beating down, and he was feeling tired and pleased with his day's earnings. He sat down, placing his heavy bag of coins right beside him. As he was enjoying the cool breeze, a mischievous monkey, who had been watching him from the branches above, saw the bag. The monkey was curious. With a swift, silent movement, it scampered down the tree, snatched the bag of coins, and he climbed right up to the highest branch, chattering excitedly. Hey, stop, that's my money. Come back here, you thief, Gopal shouted, jumping to his feet in a panic. He waved his fists and yelled at the monkey, but the creature just sat on the high branch, far out of his reach, examining its new prize. Gopal tried to coax it, offering it a piece of food he had in his pocket, but the monkey was not interested. Then, the monkey did something that made Gopal's heart sink. It opened the bag, it took out a coin, looked at it, and then, it threw the coin down into the river below. Plop! Then it took another coin and threw it onto the ground near Gopal. Then another into the river. Plop! And another onto the ground. The monkey continued this, one by one. It would toss one coin into the flowing river and the next one onto the grassy bank. Gopal scrambled frantically, trying to collect the coins that landed on the ground, but he could only watch in horror as half of his hard-earned money disappeared into the water. He was devastated. He cried out, why are you doing this? You're throwing half of my money away. He sat down, Utterly defeated, Andy watched as the monkey emptied the entire bag, half the coins on the ground, half in the river. As Gopal sat there, sobbing over his lost fortune, a wise old man who was passing by stopped to see what the commotion was. He saw the crying milkman Andy the empty coin bag on the ground. "What troubles you so, my son?" the old man asked gently. Through his tears, Gopal explained the whole story. He told the old man about his milk business, how he had collected the money, and how the cruel monkey had thrown half of it into the river. He conveniently left out the part about adding water to his milk. The wise old man listened patiently. When Gopal was finished, he looked at him with knowing eyes. Andy sighed, "Do not cry, for what has happened is not a tragedy, but justice." Gopal looked up, confused. "Justice? What do you mean? I've been robbed." The old man smiled softly. "The monkey has only returned what belongs where. The money you earned from the milk, it has returned to you on the ground. Andy, the money you earned from the water you mixed in, well, it has returned it to the river." Gopal's face went pale. The old man's words hit him like a physical blow. He suddenly understood. All the money he had made by cheating, by adding water, had been taken away and returned to its source. The monkey hadn't been cruel. It had been an instrument of nature, balancing the scales of honesty and deceit. Overwhelmed with shame and regret, Gopal confessed everything to the old man. He admitted how his greed had led him to cheat his loyal customers, the very people who had trusted him. The wise man simply nodded and sighed. "Honesty is a treasure far more valuable than gold. What you sow, so shall you reap. You sowed deceit, and you have reaped this loss. Let this be a lesson to you." From that day forward, Gopal was a changed man. He went back to his village and, one by one, apologized to all his customers. He promised to sell only pure, unadulterated milk from then on. It was difficult at first. Many villagers were still skeptical and had lost their trust in him. His earnings dropped significantly, and he had to live a much simpler life than before. But Gopal was patient. Every single morning, he delivered the freshest, creamiest milk with a genuine smile on his face. Slowly but surely, the villagers saw his sincerity. They noticed the quality of the milk returned to its original richness. They saw the change in Gopal's heart. Trust, once broken, was rebuilt bit by bit. Gopal never became the richest man in the village, but he regained something far more precious, the respect of his neighbors and his own peace of mind. He learned that the satisfaction of honest work and a clear conscience was worth more than any bag of coins. And he would often tell his story to the village children, ending with the moral: honesty is the best policy, and the ill-gotten gains will never truly last. Thank you for listening to this story. We hope you enjoyed it and learned a valuable lesson. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more wonderful stories that teach, entertain, and inspire. See you next time.